Babygirl is described as 2024's psychotic, erotic thriller. Thriller, it is not. Erotic, a little bit. I first heard of this movie watching the trailers in the cinema for another movie, and as somebody who has the interest in the kink life and is actually in the kink life a bit, the BDSM scene, the dominant submissive scene, this tickled my fancy a little bit watching it in the trailers. And the movie is just fine. Insert plug-in here for the OF and a full review on my Patreon page. Babygirl stars Nicole Kidman as the CEO of some company that I forget. And she is married to Antonio Banderas and has 2 kids with him. And they have a sex life, you know, whatever, but it's not enough for Romy. And the very first scene is the 2 of them having sex at night before they go to sleep, and then right when they're done, she's running off to a different room of the house, turning on the laptop to watch some porn, and she does finish herself that way. It's so funny watching this scene because it's like, could you make it any more obvious that you're running off to do something? And like the next day she's going to work and she runs into her would-be future intern on the street because a dog's about to attack her, and he's able to get the dog under control and back to its own owner. And they have this little like staring, looking at each other moment. It's supposed to bring up some sort of feeling. Doesn't really. And then later on, once a couple days go by, they're supposed to have this sexual tension. And as much as I think Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson, by the way, have chemistry, it's so fun to watch them in the interviews for the promotions for Babygirl, I'm finding it a little bit hard to believe in the scenes in full. When you're watching the trailers, at least when I'm watching the trailers, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is something that I want. But in the very first like official scene you get with them, which I think is after they kiss for the first time, it's almost comical to me because I think in the trailers I'm getting this vibe of Samuel, who Harris plays. I'm getting this impression that he's already been involved in the kink scene and being dominant, but it's really awkward to watch in the first official scene, and it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. But then once you get to the very specific scene when they're still in that hotel room, okay, that particular moment had me feeling some type of way. A lot of jealousy is what I was feeling. My own romantic life and etc. is just in shambles. As more and more of these scenes go on, I'm just feeling like I'm not getting what the movie is trying to sell me. Because she keeps getting attached to Samuel, he's getting attached to her. Samuel is giving her something that her husband isn't able to give her. Her husband is extremely vanilla, very just point A, point B to point C in sex, whereas with Romy and Samuel, there's a little bit something extra there. He's being dominant, he's telling her what to do, he's making her do this and that, and just giving her experiences that she's been craving. That's just a little bit more, what's the word that I'm looking for? Risky? I mean, it is very risky because this is her intern who she's not supposed to be having any sort of relations with. 1, because this is her intern, and 2, because she is married, and of course her husband doesn't know about this. The milk scene wasn't doing it for me as much as I was hoping that it would, because I know that in the marketing they were really trying to sell us that. And at the end of that particular scene, he says, "Good girl," which that, I feel like that maybe should have been the title versus Babygirl, because granted he does say "you're my baby girl" in one line once, so it fits, but I think "Good Girl" just would have been a better title. Partially because every time I hear the word Babygirl now, I just think of Massimo from 365 Days. And now all I can hear every time is, "Are you lost, Babygirl?" I'm pretty sure I read some comments of the YouTube videos where the trailers were being posted and people were making 365 Days jokes because of Babygirl being the title. Did I mention this movie isn't really a thriller? To me, thriller is one step before horror, right? And you're supposed to get a little bit like tensed up and frightened, but nothing is really giving you much of a thrill. Because even the affair isn't making you think or feel like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? Like, oh my god, is the husband going to find out? And eventually the husband does find out. The most thriller part of this entire thing is really just the fact that Samuel and Antonio Banderas, whose character's name I forget, it's Jacob, his name is Jacob. So Samuel and Jacob get into a fight because Samuel ends up going to the getaway house or whatever after Jacob finds out about the affair, and they just start fighting, and that's still not even much of a thrill because it's more of a comical type of fight. Antonio Banderas is just a little too frail in this, and Samuel is not really much of a puncher either. But that's the most thrill that you get. When I'm thinking of thrill, I'm thinking that, okay, yes, there are moments when Samuel is threatening Romy because he can say one word and then screw up her entire life. People find out that she's having an affair with her intern, things are gonna go haywire. Plus, her own assistant knows what's going on because her assistant and Samuel were, I don't really want to say they were dating, but I guess they were kind of flirting, and they went to a holiday or a birthday party together that Romy was hosting, and Romy was getting upset and her emotions were picking up there. And so when the assistant found out, you're still not getting much of a thrill. There's a little bit of a threat here, there's a little bit of a threat there, and one of her other, I don't know if it's another employee or maybe it's an investor or somebody, I don't know, another man who kind of tries to threaten her after Samuel ends up leaving the country and leaving his job. I was expecting, because also it's A24, it's A24 that is producing this, and A24 usually has some sort of plot point that just gets twisted. Now A24 isn't writing the movies, they're producing, but well, if they're producing it, they have some sort of say. They can have ideas as well. I'm just expecting that somebody was gonna die. I was expecting that either Samuel was gonna go after Romy, or Romy was gonna go after Samuel, or Jacob, the husband, was gonna go after Samuel, or something. I fully expected somebody to either get killed by the end of the movie, or I'm thinking some sort of Lifetime moment is going to happen. A Lifetime movie moment where you think that somebody's dead, but then they show up around the corner and be creepy, right? And then the movie ends. But it's nothing. It's none of that. Mediocre marriage. Affair. Affair is found out, and then half of that affair leaves, and then it fizzles out. And eventually Antonio Banderas is like, okay, I'm going to give my wife what she wants, and I'm going to be a little bit more, you know, risky, a little bit more kinky. But she's just thinking of Samuel the entire time that happens. It's not a terrible movie, but it just kind of goes like this the whole entire time. There's nothing really taking it up, oh goodness, and then taking it back down, and taking it up and back down, and really like messing with your emotions a little bit. And apart from that one scene that's really emotional and really intense and really sexual, it's... because now I'm trying to think of any more scenes beyond that that really stuck with me, and I can't think of anything. There were more sex scenes, but it was so mediocre and half out of frame. I mean, if you're gonna give a movie an R rating and you're really going to like hone in on the fact that this is a psychological erotic thriller, I'm expecting a little bit more. We got more out of My Lady Chatterley with Jack O'Connell than Babygirl, which actually, as I was watching it, I don't think Dickinson did a too terrible job. He got me sitting down in my seat, you know, every once in a while, especially during that scene in the hotel room. But I feel like Jack O'Connell probably would have been better, but I think he's a little bit out of the age range that they were looking for. Dickinson is 28 or 29, and with the age gap that they are looking for, I don't think they would want Jack O'Connell. Jack O'Connell is 34. So I'm guessing Nicole Kidman, how old is she? Okay, Nicole Kidman is 57. Jack is 34. Harris is 28 or 29. Obviously, with somebody being more of Harris's age, it's going to give more the feeling that they want than somebody Jack O'Connell. But I know for a fact that Jack O'Connell just screams like, I can play a dominant scene and, you know, knock this right out of the park. Not a bad, terrible movie, but I feel like they needed to expand on it a little bit more. I think we went from point A to point B all of a sudden, and you couldn't convince me yet or give me some sort of background on Samuel's whole dominant thing. Like, wait, what do you mean I'm supposed to already be convinced that he is one? I don't know. It just needed to be fleshed out a little bit more, and I know there's comments that have talked about that. But also, if you're gonna try to sell this as a thriller to me, I'm expecting to be a little bit thrilled. But the whole finding out the affair, all we got was a little fist fight. The most damage was home decor being destroyed. But if you've seen it, you can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Again, I have a full review on my Patreon page. For as low as $1 a month, you get access to lots of content. But if you do subscribe for a little bit more, you do get lots of movie reviews. And I do have, every once in a while, once a month, I try to do one free movie review. So hopefully that's enough to entice you and bring you over. For more movie reviews, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I very much appreciate it, and I will see you later.